Hey y'all, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Drawing with Mr. Matthew. And today we're going to go over how to actually draw the person that you choose to draw. Now just remember, you can draw anybody. It can be a portrait of yourself, it can be a portrait of your favorite person, your favorite celebrity, your favorite artist, anybody you want, but you can't draw a hand. Just kidding, I just said that because I could see my hand in the picture. So you want to choose something that is more along the lines of a high contrast photo. And so to do that, I'm just going to go on this thing called Google, and I'm going to go over here. I'm going to hit the search bar, and I'm going to hit in contrast photo. Happy little contrast photo. And then in the images, oh, I'm sorry, not contrast photo, silly me, contrast portrait. There we go, contrast portrait. And then you're gonna get some photos that all come up like this, and I've already kind of gone through some of these to make it easier on you. So I'm just gonna skip to some examples that I want, or something more along this. You wanna be able to see both the sides of the face, the ears, and even on the darkest part, if you look really close, you can still actually even see the edge of the hairline and stuff like this. Here's another one, you know, something like this. You just basically high contrast, meaning it's black and white. You can see all the value in the face, and there's lots of light highlights and shaded areas. So here's another example. This one's a little bit on the light side, and something you don't want is something more like this, where you can't even really see the other side of the face right here. So I'm gonna go with this one right here. I think that this has really good light source over on this side. I can still see the sides of the face, the nose, and all this going on right here. So once you have your picture, make sure you save it, get it on another window so you don't lose it, and then you wanna blow it up as big as possible so that if you need to, you can really zoom in here and look at the nostrils. Happy little nostrils, look at those things. You can really look in here on the eyes and where these highlights are, and you can see all the little hair follicles that are coming off of the eyebrow. All right, and if I zoom back out for the first part, we're gonna need to see the whole head. So I'm just gonna put my computer right over here to the side. And you want your computer up and open the whole time. The more you actually look at the image, the better your picture is going to be, because even though you feel like maybe it's not doing anything, being able to see what you're drawing every single time is going to translate directly into this thing right here, which is your hand, and it'll help you draw a little bit better. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out where and how big I want my head to be. So I'm going to say I want the top of the head to be somewhere here, and I want the bottom of the face to be somewhere here. Now, I'm on a bigger piece of paper for explanation purposes and the ability of you guys being able to see this a little bit better. You guys are probably going to be on a smaller paper. If you can draw bigger, draw it as big as you can. So remember, first, we're starting with this nice, perfectly round circle. You're not going to be able to draw a circle with one go, so you're going to sketch it out, you know, several circles together to get that there. And then, you know, here's the bottom of that area. And so as I'm looking at this picture, I wish you could be looking at the picture as I'm drawing it. She has more of a long face that kind of comes down like this, and then the jaw kind of comes in. So I'm trying to mimic by looking at this over here, and I'm drawing up bottom of the face. And then right around here is where that first section of remember, top of the crown, top of the brow, that's your section number 1. And then right here, what was this section again? That's right, section number 2, which is what? The top of the brow to the bottom of the nose. I know you guys just said that right along with me. Glad that you guys got that part. And right from here is the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin. That's the easiest part. And as I'm looking at the photo, her lips are actually, I'm just doing some quick little sketching. The chin's about that big, and the lips seem to be about right here, creating this distance from there to there. And then the bottom of the nose is about right here. Now, I don't know if you recall me saying in the other one, but the nose tends to be the center point in which that our eyes focus on first. So this is usually my starting point always when doing a portrait. Now, this doesn't have to always be everybody's technique, but it is mine because it helps me build around the face, and then usually I change the outside structures to be more realistic. Now, I'm pulling this about an inch or so. I mean, I'm just doing this rough, but a little bit lower than this brow level. This tends to be where the eyes are, so I'm just doing rough estimates, and these are going to change as I keep building and building and building. So now I have my section 1, I have my section 2, and I have my section 3, and I have the basic jaw outline of this person's face. So starting with right here, this circle represents the center of where the nose is, and on my picture, the bottom of the nose, because her face is angled slightly up. And you want to try to choose a portrait that's going to be more looking directly at you, as if you choose a photo that's tilted, it will be slightly more difficult to get some of these angles. So for your sake, I would get something that's a little bit more directly on. The bottom of the nose is right here, and then right underneath that bottom of the nose, this is where the nostrils are lying. And I'm not drawing any hard lines. I'm not drawing any, permanent marks here. I'm just laying in where the nostrils are going to lay in a relative sense. They don't need to be perfect because we can change all this to be more precise. I'm just kind of like, this is where it might be. Okay, now remember from that point, the next thing I'm going to lay in is the eyes. And to get the eyes in, I need to know where the bridge of the nose is from right where the brows meet. So I know that the top round part of the nose is about right here as I'm looking. And then the nose goes up about right here. And remember, these lines are not going to stay. There's no permanent lines on a face. I'm just drawing these in to help me know where I'm going to put the shading later. It's kind of like a map. So if I know that this is where the bridge of the nose to the eyebrow is, then I know that this is where the eyebrow will come up to. And so now I know that the eye rests in this general vicinity. And in the last video, if I'm looking, let's look right here. If I'm looking right here, I'm going to zoom in for you guys. I can see right here that this line comes almost right there. Remember? So if I go beep, 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 go straight down. If I go right here, beep, 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 boom, it lands up right there. And if I go over here, the edge of, let's go to this side because you can see it more clearly. The edge of the lips, beep, 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 go almost right into the center of the eye. So now you know that this edge of the nostril is going almost to the eye. This comes in just a tad bit, but you can get a relative distance there. And this goes almost directly to the center of the eye, so you know it's relative to that area. Now, also, if you want to measure something, usually you take the tip of your drawing utensil and you put it to what you want to measure. So I'm trying to measure how wide the eye is. So if I look at that, then I take the edge of my finger and I put it there. So this is about how wide the eye is, and I put it to the edge of there. It almost touches to that center. So I know that this distance in between is almost the same distance of this eye. So when I'm laying that down, you'll see in a second, I'm going to measure how wide this nostril is to see how wide these eyes are. And then if I know that that is that, these are going to be the edge of the lips. From these main measurements, then I can start measuring, well, if I know the eye is this wide, how wide is it from the edge of the eye to the edge of the cheek right there? Then I can say it's half of that distance. So then I know if when I'm going on here, if I look on my paper and I made my eye this wide, then I just take half of that measurement and I know it should be about that big. I know that that might have been a little bit confusing, but just remember that this measurement is relative to this measurement, which is, you know, roughly a good standpoint on how to measure some of the things in here. Okay. So, with that being said, I can see that this is about where that eye goes. And I know that this distance from that dot to that dot is now where the edge of that eye is going to go. So that's about how wide the eye is. And I know that that looks very wide, but it's not the whole eye. I mean, there's a crease in there, and we're going to, you know, the corner of the eye duct where the tear duct is. And so I'm going to just do the same thing over here, where I'm going to measure from there to the edge, and then I'm going to go to there. And then it's roughly right around here. You know, I'm going to go in just a tad. Okay? So now I can see the shape on this eye, kind of like an almond, go up. All right. And then, if I'm looking at the picture, the eye duct actually goes up. And she's kind of squinting almost. She's not squinting a lot, but she just kind of has like a concerned look. She must be thinking about what she's going to eat for lunch, you know? Hangry is the thing, getting hungry. So, you know, don't get too hungry, you guys. Make sure you eat a good lunch. Get some nutritious value going on in there. Okay, cool. There you go right there. And I'm going to just, even though there's no hard line right there, there is a lot of shading going on in that point. So I'm just going to draw that in right there. Okay, so I got, you know, the width of the nose, the basic of where the nose is, now where the eyes are. And when I'm looking at the picture, I have this distance of where the center of the mouth is, but I can see that that's actually wrong now. So when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at how far this distance is, and if I'm looking at the edge of there to the edge of there, and then I'm checking the bottom of the nose, it's about half that distance. So when I do this, if I'm checking there to there, and it's that wide, then I know it's going to be about half that. So it'll be somewhere around right here is where that top of the lip is. And remember, when we do the top of the lip, it's going to be this downward triangle. So that's about where the top of her lips are. And then if you remember, right about here, right on the edges of the center of the eye, that's where the edge of her mouth was. So now I know, I can see. And then her mouth slightly turns up right there. She's got a, you know, she's worried about lunch, but she's also excited about it. So, you know, we're just going to throw that in right there. Lips kind of go like that. And then I'm just going to zoom in real quick. Her lips are about right there. And this comes in like that. Right, and then her lips are about the same width from there to there to there to there, and there's just a nice little round shape going on right there. And if I see that, then I know that the chin's going to be more like this, and this is going to be the bottom of the chin. I'm just going to make that adjustment right there. And I made the face just a little bit long, but that's okay. That's why we're drawing in pencil. And, you know, these are just happy little mistakes that we're going to correct as we go along the way. All right, so here we go. That going right there. Now I'm going here. And if I look at her forehead is, you know, it's a good distance from there to there. And if I want to be extremely precise, I can just take the measurement of the eye. That's what we've been using. And I can say, you know, 1, 2. It's about 2 measurements of the eye. So if I'm looking at this, I can say, you know, it's about 1, 2, which actually is not too far off of what I actually have. So I'll just go like this, and then her hairline kind of comes up, and I have it a little bit more round than what it shows on this picture that I have. It's more like this. Okay. Here we go. Eyebrow's going to come in about like that. maybe just a little bit closer than what I just did. That's all right. And I'm just doing sketching lines because I'm not trying to make anything permanent yet. So now I see that, you know, maybe I went a little bit too high on where I had the eyebrow. So I'm just going to erase some of that, take some of that down. That's okay. And there we go. Now I'm starting to get some proportionings of some things in here. Starting to look more like a face. And okay, so once again now, let's look at the ears. We got the ear, top of the ear is matching right at the top of that eye. Bottom of the ear, it's coming right about to that nostril. This ear going right to the top of that nose, or to the bottom of that round nose right there. Top of this ear, top of the eye. So we're gonna say top of the eye, roughly, that's where the ear is gonna go. And right around here, okay? And on the ear. We're just going to do basic shapes. Remember, anytime you're feeling lost, go back to the basics. Just keep it basic shapes for now. And when you want to add more detail later, you can always do that. All right? Don't be scared to make mistakes. Just remember that anything you draw here is just in pencil. We can go back and fix all of this. It'll be great. All right, so there's a basic proportion. Now, let's go up to the top of the head here. And we got some hair, and I'm not going to worry about doing any of this hair detail at this point. All I'm going to worry about is getting the basic shape of this hair from the hairline. So if I got my hairline and it's roughly about here, I might change that a little bit later, but let's just keep that for now. I can see that on this photo, the hair kind of comes out to here a little bit, and then it kind of stays out here, and then her hair kind of from here goes a little bit higher because it's being pulled back into a bun. And all you girls and, you know, guys, or, you know, anyone with longer hair will understand that about pulling your hair back. You know, it kind of does what it wants to do. Hair's got a mind of its own. You know, it's living. Even when you die, it's still alive. It just does its own thing. It just moves around. Okay, so we got some hair. And I think, you know, I might have made this hair look a little bit higher than it actually is. So, you know, I say, you know, Mr. Mathews, let's just pull that down just a little bit. You made it a little bit wild. So I'm just going to, you know, I can always go back. I can always just change these things. But the key is keeping it really light so that you can change those things at any point. All right, now when I'm looking down here, I talked on the other video about neck size. Her jaw comes in, and her neck is very, very slim and slender. That's why she's so hungry, you know. She looks like she needs to eat a little bit. And her neck's really slim and slender, so we're just going to say if her jawline comes out to about right here, her neck came into about right there too. Very defined jaw. There you go. And so it comes down here, and on this side it's a little bit higher. It's a little bit higher on this shoulder, and then on this side it's a little bit lower. So we're just going to pull this down like that. And this is at the point that I want you to get today. I want you to get this basic, where everything's going. This way we can look at where we want to make some corrections, what type of shading we're going to go into after this. So this is a great point to start re-evaluating your drawing. Does this look enough like the person? Are there some things that you want to change about this? You know, looking at this, let's just click that off. So does this look close enough to keep moving forward? Are the eyes in the right spot? Are the ears pretty much proportional? And I'd say yes, at this point I'd like to go forward from this, although I will make some other changes on the next video. So tune in next time with Drawing with Mr. Mathew, and I hope you just really enjoyed yourself. Have a great day.